My name is Nikki Nix, and my presentation is about online versus traditional education. Online versus traditional education. And I got my little pointer out, so I'm ready to show y'all what I'm going to talk about. Obviously by me, and these pictures are obviously online. See, he's doing a school at home, or traditional, where you're in a class and being taught with a bunch of other kids. And I also have some pros and cons of online versus traditional education. These are the pros. So for online, you have more one-on-one with the teachers, I feel, because you can contact them, especially in K-12, you can contact them 3 different ways: Skype, phone, or email. You can also get your work done at your own pace. You can do it earlier, or you can get it done when it's actually due. Hopefully we don't procrastinate and get it over when it's overdue, but you know what I'm saying. And it's easy to travel and do work. For me, for example, we're on the road a lot for business. So, whenever I can't do work, it's good for online education for me, because I can be on the road and do my work, or I could be at the motel and do my work. I can sit around anywhere and do my work, and it's really awesome. If you can't do it on a certain day, you can come back and finish work. So a good example for this is if you have a doctor's appointment and you're supposed to be doing work. Well, if you can't do it at that time, you can come back later and do it, which also brings us up to the next one. It can be done throughout all hours of the day. So if you want to do it at midnight or 3 a.m., you can, or if you want to do it at 9 a.m., you can. There's shorter school days. So, like I said, you can get your school done work early. You can get it done a week early or 2 days early. Or there's just days that are shorter than others. Like for K-12, that's the main reason why I chose this topic, is because K-12 is a really good example against traditional education. So we have alternate classes, so, there's shorter school days. And, you have less stress of keeping actual papers. So like when you get school papers from school, sometimes people lose them. You can't keep up with them sometimes. Whereas to online school, you can make all kinds of folders and keep your documents and type on them, and you won't have to worry about losing your papers. I know there's sometimes that you do have to print papers, but if you do perhaps lose them, you can always go back and print them. Traditional pros, you have more sociability with people. For example, there's a whole bunch of students in traditional school, that you can physically see and talk to, and, there's more teachers where you can, physically see and talk to. And so that's why you get more sociability, whereas to online, you can't really have that much sociability. Face-to-face with the teacher, yes, we can Skype them, we can video chat with, teachers online, but the face-to-face with the teacher, you can actually see them and talk to them about things if you needed to. And also, a good thing about traditional is you're not in front of a screen for a whole lot of time, because you're in the class and you're learning, whereas to online, you're, no, we're not on every day, and we should take breaks from it, hopefully, but you're still on a screen and online learning. Here's the cons of online versus traditional education. For online, you have less sociability with people, like I was saying, yes, for K-12 is another example, yes, there's actual kids in our class, but we can't really, talk with them or hang out with them at school. And you have no face-to-face contact with teacher. Once again, you can video chat them, but, one of the pros about traditional is you can actually see your teacher or talk with your teacher, in real life. Traditional cons, you can't get your work done early. So, for example, if I went out of town, I can't really get my work done on Monday if I'm leaving on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you have to go and get your work at a certain time, and plus, you can't learn the actual lesson. You have to be in physical class to do that in traditional school, so it's kind of hard to do things like that. And you can't do work all throughout the day, so with online, you can do a bunch of work, new work, old work, throughout all the day, from 9 to midnight if you wanted to, like I said, but for traditional school, you have to do certain amounts of work throughout 8 hours of the day. You're counted absent and if you're counted absent and can't get the work right, can't get the work right then if you can't make it to school. So there's another deal about, like if you leave town, you're kind of absent and you can't get the work right then because you'd have to learn it and just a bunch of other mess within that whole con. You also have to go to school for 8 hours of each school day for 5 days, whereas to, online like K-12, I just keep going back to it because, we don't, yes, we have 8 hours to do, but sometimes we don't always use those 8 hours because our classes, switch back and forth every day. Whereas public school doesn't, or traditional school. Now, my opinion, I obviously, from all these pictures, I like online education. I've done it for 3 years now. A lot of people want to know which is better for education, online or public school. My parents, as well as I, wondered the same thing before we started online schooling. And throughout the years, I've come to the conclusion that, to me, online schooling is better than traditional. Just because not only do you have more one-on-one with the teacher, you can also get your work done earlier or on the due date if you wanted to. Unlike traditional schooling, you can do schoolwork all throughout the day if you wanted to, rather than only being able to do a certain amount of work within the 8 hours of a traditional school day. You can also travel on the road and do schoolwork too. Man, the possibilities are endless with online schooling. One example is being absent versus being present. Within those two, let's say you and your family travel a lot and do business, you're most likely thinking about doing online education because traditional probably wouldn't be the best for you. That's kind of like for me. You would have to leave school all the time and get kind of absent, not being able to be present and active in classes. It would be hard for you to learn because you wouldn't be able to be in the class to learn. If that doesn't make sense, basically what it's saying is, when you're absent, you can't physically, you're missing the classes that you need to be in order to learn the lesson, and when you're absent, you can't do that. That's why, when you get your work back, you'll always have to go to your teacher and, learn the lesson. However, if you decide to go to do online school, you wouldn't have to deal with the mess of being absent all the time, and plus you could have the mobilities of being able to do it on the road and being able to be present and learning the objectives of your classes. So, like, what that's saying is, even though, like, you're not physically at your house doing your school, you're still in school because it's on your computer. And, you can do it on the road and you can learn the objectives of your classes while you're on the road. Another example, is about online schooling in college. It's great for most students because they work around their job. They can work around their job and they can save all kinds of money with doing online learning. For example, if you're going to a public college, unless you have a scholarship, you have to save up lots of money for things such as a dorm. You have to use more fuel to go back and forth to college. That's if, like, you're not going to, use the dorm. You have to still go back and forth to college. And you have to save up money for the food there, and there's so much more that you have to do. And whereas in online learning, you can save money by being in the comfort of your own home and not having to save for a dorm. You can sit on your couch or on your table and do your work. Plus, you don't have to drive back and forth to college. Now, like, I'm talking about driving back and forth to college. This is like if you don't want a dorm. And yes, even though online college is probably still costs money, you're still not having to, pay for a bunch of fuel going back and forth to college. And you're not having to pay for the food and all the other stuff there, and especially a dorm, because that's a lot of money too. And you're not having to get a loan for college, a huge loan for, all that stuff. That's why that's a good example, I felt. And I also have an opposing side, obviously, which is traditional school being better, and a conclusion, and I put these together because whenever I typed it, it kind of went together. I'm not saying that you can't learn from traditional education. You can. There's pros for traditional education that online doesn't have, which is sometimes I wish that online had sometimes, which is more sociability with others. You can physically see the teachers more, and you aren't spending your day at the computer like you are with online learning. And like I said, you're not spending every single hour of the day, but you're still at the computer a bunch. So what I'm saying is that I feel online learning is somewhat better than traditional learning. because no, you can't physically see your teacher. However, you can still contact them in different ways. You can do your work on the road, and even though it's on a screen, you can still do it at your own pace. And some days of school or online are shorter than others. You don't have to be pulled out of school early and be worried about being counted absent all the time, because you can work throughout all hours of the day to get it done, whether it's day or night. No, online school isn't for everyone, but it's another option if traditional education isn't working for your child. And the only reason I'm saying it's not for everyone is because some kids are social butterflies. Some just, want to get their work done. The people who just want to get their work done are, kids who do online. And that's the end of my presentation. And this is all my info. And it's where I got all my pictures and info from. This is where I got my slides info. I know it says 2 and 3, but it actually helped for all of my info on all my slides. And obviously I used a lot of pictures. One of these is more for a college website like this one. That's where I got the advantages and disadvantages mainly. And this is also a good one because you could read through and see, what's better and what's not better. And that is the end of my presentation. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you have a great day.